Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a retired Marine Colonel, 27 years of service, and I've worked on budget committees. I've worked and ran 3 different infantry battalions, and also the Ground Defense Force in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I'm here today, first of all, I wanted to find, and I've been looking for, a mission statement for the Board of Supervisors, and I don't know where to look, and I have not been able to identify a mission statement. And Mr. Huckleberry, if you have one, I would appreciate an opportunity to get one, or at least to see it and view it. And I would hope that the board would sit down and read the mission statement. I'm here primarily to talk about the Willet versus Pima County. In reading that in the Arizona Daily Independent, I was surprised, and I was very, very uneasy about the fishy smell that surrounded that particular article. And it indicated that Mr. Willet had been a bike rider, which I envy, and I have been one myself. However, a bike rider must be responsible for his manipulation of that bicycle. In the report, it's indicating that he is suing Pima County, and in fact he's suing you, me, and everyone that is here to pay $5 million plus $1 million to his wife for suffering that she sustained. I don't know. Were they riding on a bicycle built for 2? Did she also get injured? That has not yet been identified. But it seems to me that a case that is looking for this type of remuneration for negligence on his part, if he was in a bicycle lane, he was legal. Once you leave that bicycle lane and travel onto the sidewalk, you're illegal. And when you're illegally on the sidewalk and you go off the other side into the small crevice or ditch that's used primarily to drain water off sidewalks so that it would go into the wash, you drove into a ditch. And that, to me, was negligence on the part of Mr. Willet. And I feel very, very serious that when I saw $1 million for his wife's feeling of compassion, etc., for her husband, I can understand. But it seems to me in violation of the vows that they took when they got married, for better or for worse. And in this case, unfortunately, is for worse. But I'm sure Mr. Willet had personal life insurance, and I'm sure he had medical insurance after working for Mr. Huckleberry. And it seems to me that any decision made to just arbitrarily vote yes or no on a $5 million plus a $1 million settlement is not, it's just too fishy, and it smells fishy to me.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
And I would hope that you would take that into consideration, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Nancy, motion carries 3-1. Next item, Counselor.
Well, Madam Chairman, support item 3 on the addendum is an executive session on Willet versus Pima County Superior Court case number C-2014-1595. Outside counsel, Darrell Audelet seeks direction on whether to proceed with the proposed settlement agreement, which involves payment to Martin Willet and Sally Darcy of $1,823,500 in full settlement of all claims.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Elias.
Move the recommendation of our outside counsel
To approve the settlement.
to approve the settlement of $1.8 million to Mr. Willet and Ms. Stanley.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
I'd like to make a few comments. The one thing that I would like to talk about is the fact that, there never seems to be accountability for these issues when we have issues with roads, when we have issues with bridges. We're made aware of these situations, and it continues to cost us money. The other thing I'd like to say, and first of all, I would like to say I feel terrible about Mr. Willett and his issues that he has to deal with. That being said, you know, I have a memo here from Mr. Huckleberry about potholes and how we aren't paying those.
Ms. Supervisor Miller, it needs to be
It's
addressing, it's not relevant to this, potholes are not relevant to this discussion.
And then, you know, I'd just like to say that end of the day, you know, we all ride bicycles, we all need to be responsible, and unfortunately, you know, we fall once in a while, and it happens to all of us. And sometimes people are injured very badly. And we had a case here in the city of Tucson yesterday where an individual broke his spine in 3 places and was awarded $225,000. I just feel that this is an excessive amount of money, given that there's insurance, etc. At any rate, I want to voice my objection to this approval.
Roll call.
Supervisor Elias.
Madam Chair, before we go to roll call, I want to comment on that.
Again, I remind the board members that we cannot discuss what was discussed in executive session. Just as a
I just wanted to comment on Supervisor Miller's comment here in public, and I understand that, and it's difficult sometimes to understand these things, but comparing apples to oranges is not the way to do it. I mean, you really don't know the situation surrounding the other case that Supervisor Miller brought up, and so I think it's a little disingenuous to do that, quite honestly. And it really is makes a mockery of what takes place here in consultation with our lawyers and with our outside counsel. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Elias. Roll call.
Supervisor Elias.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
No.
Supervisor Valdez.
Aye.
Chair Bronson.
Aye. Motion carries 3-1. Moving